Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this sequence, I will introduce affordable RC handset that I have found on the used market. It was on the flea market. You can use to control your Mould King technical brick sets. And what are the requirements? The requirements is it must or it should support OpenTX or EdgeTX, and it's possible it should have an internal model. It makes the configuration more easy, and for future use, it would be nice if this control would have a so-called expansion bay, JR expansion bay, because of you may have start your RC journey by controlling your Mould King sets, but if you are interested in using other sets, yes, of course. If you have such an internal 4.1 controller module, the chance is very high that you can control plenty of other RC receivers and model with this controller, with this 4.1 controller, even if further firmware updates. The alternative would be that you can also insert specific expansion module, especially if you buy if you are found in a C controller that has a 4.1 model inside, and you're interested to use this with model receiver. The most model technique I can is Express LS. It's intended to use the new standard for SC models, and if you choose a transmitter, the chance is very high that the built-in model is expressive LS and not 4.1, or vice versa. So if you can't find an affordable transmitter that has a built-in 4.1 module, keep an eye that it has an expansion module. This is a larger one. Also exists an even more compact one, smaller one for the smaller remotes, but then you're fine. And what about the cost? I catch this for a little bit less than 50 euro. This is for the remote control in a very well condition. It's not too much, but yeah, it's difficult to say if it is too much or not, because we have one problem if there's not an internal model, because you have to buy such external ones, and if you buy such an external 4-in-1 model in Europe, it can cost up to 80 euros by its own. I bought it in Asia, and in Asia it still costs around about 30 euros, and in combination with the basic transmitter, the overall cost to have a transmitter that is enabled to control your Mould King sets, you have to spend 80 euros, and you can get maybe not equipped with such amount of control elements, but you can get a new one even if you buy it in Asia for about 120, 150 euros. It's up to you. But nevertheless, keep an eye open if you can catch a good deal. If you see a good deal for less than 50 euro for the basic transmitter, or not more than 100 euros for a well-equipped transmitter with built-in 4.1 module, it would be fine. And one thing you have to keep an eye at, the 4.1 modules are available from different branches. This is the iRanger module, and this is the updated iRanger module with the external USB port. And the trick behind this, you can upgrade this module outside URC by using an older USB cable and a freeware tool. But the real story behind this, the module that comes with the external USB port have a flash tool, a bootloader installed on the microcontroller, and the ability to program it directly from inside the transmitter is based if a bootloader is present or not. And the older models don't have the the bootloader installed when they come out of the box. You have to prepare it by your own. And I think it's nothing against you, but it's not nothing an ordinary brick set fan can handle. So this is very practical because this is plug and play. So the model is simply plugged in the back and is powered and programmed with inside the the controller itself. And that is the reason why you highly recommend to choose one that is supported by HTX and OpenTX. A number of very old other brands also supports these models, but possibly they are not acting in serial mode. They are only acting in PPM mode, and in PPM mode you have to select the protocol with this yellow knob. This is not a big deal. The pitfall is a little bit different. This model comes out of the box with any form of firmware, and for real, it's the chance that you have to update the firmware by your own to use Mould King in the latest version I describe later is very high, but it's very easy when you have this type of model. You can do it within OpenTX or HTX supported controller within the controller. If you have an older transmitter that is not well, manufacturer specific proprietary system that has an expansion bay but it's not based on OpenTX or HTX, then you must operate this model in so-called PPM mode. And in PPM mode, the protocol is selected by this knob. And again, the pitfall is the number of protocols is listed because you have certain banks, and for sure, Mould King is not present. And what is the problem? To put Mould King protocol in a form that can be used with a selection knob, you have to compile the firmware by your own. And again, this is nothing you really want. It's not as complicated. Maybe it's a nice challenge for you, but as a brickset user, yes, of course, you can update a firmware as you do with your other items and gears you had at home, your iPhone or your other mobile, but to compile the firmware before you put it here you have to compile it and then you have to place it here. It's maybe a little bit out of scope what you want to do. So, but two things. If you want to make it simple, just buy a model only with the external USB port and keep your eyes open that when you're looking for a controller you want to choose, it is supported by HTX or OpenTX. And the rest is described in the other videos, in the other sections. So at first, this is a introduction story. So I will now put this module in the expansion bay. Must be a little bit careful. So after I have inserted, I will put the antenna later on for the test. We don't need the antenna here. Unfortunately, you can't remove the standard antenna, but it does not disturb very much. So now I will turn on the transmitter. So I've updated this with this latest HTX version. Never mind about the warnings, not important for us. So to activate the module, I will now create a new model. So I go to the model menu because let's say we will create another model at place number 20. So I create a new model, has been created, and then I go to the model setup page. Model setup page, scroll down in the menu, and as you can see here, by default, if you create a new model, the internal receiver radio transmitter and the module and the external transmitter is turned off by default. And we don't need the internal one because I will show you that the internal module does not support the multi-protocol. Oh, I've accidentally turned on the external module. Wait a second. So this is the internal module. So this is the reason why we need the external module, because so you can only select between off and XIT. This is the internal Taranis or FASCI module, and in this internal module I only can switch between 6-channel receiver version and 16-channel receiver version. And as you can see here, I don't have any other option. No? For that reason, I switch off the internal model and then I turn on the external model. And as you can see here, there are plenty of variations available because there are plenty of external models on the market. No? I select multi-protocol model, and then we will try to. It's open the protocol list, and it opens it display any entry, no, any entry in the list. Now I have to select it, and we try to find Mould King. I have to see if it's Mould King. So as you can see here, I haven't selected Mould King, but keep your eyes on the status and status line below. And as you can see, in the status line, you can see the actual version number. It's 1.3.26, 2.6, and you can see the message upgrade advice. No? But ignore it at the moment. I want to show you in the protocol list. I search for Mould King. Still searching for Mould King. And as you can see here, because these modules, when you buy them, they come with any version of the firmware. No? It's not necessary the actual one. LM. So obviously no Mould King in the currently present firmware version of the external multi-protocol module. Obviously it does not have the current or the actually firmware version with Mould King inside or as part of the firmware in the latest version, and now I will tell you how you can upgrade it. In this sequence, I will demonstrate you how you update the internal firmware of the external multi-protocol module. In the last sequence, we saw that in the current firmware version, obviously the Mould King protocol is not present, and for that reason, I have downloaded from the link I've put in the video description from the multi-protocol model page, one of the latest releases, and I will now update the firmware. And to do so, we have to go to the system menu. A short press of the menu button will open the model menu, and the longer press the system. We are now in the model setup. Go back. press a little bit longer, and now we are in the system menu. One step further. So now we are in the SD card. I have put the firmware for the external model in the firmware folder. So I just go with the dial to the firmware folder. So, and let's select the firmware and hold the button, and then there's the option to flash the multi-module. You can see this resetted, and then the writing process starts. Sometimes you get an error message, and so like this. I will retry it. Maybe you have start over it 1 or 2 times when it fails. So, but it seems that after second attempt, okay, as you can see here, the flash is successfully written. If we are unsure if it is activated or not, you can just turn off and turn on the transmitter one time. But I think we can have direct dialog inside the model settings. I go to the model settings. So let's see. So, but let's create a new model. Let's create a model in line 2. So I've created a new model. Model is created. I go to the next page on page 2. We are in the setup page for the models, and every time a new model has been created, the internal and external receiver is turned off. And let me see, and we don't need the internal module because the internal module does not support a multi-protocol module. That was the reason why we have put in the external one. I have to switch it on. Select multi. Again, any entry of the protocol list is selected and displayed. Now I have to look if I can now find Mould King. If I'm unsure if I downloaded the right version, there's a release page for the downloaded version of the file. So I will show you a small but important pitfall about the multi-protocol module firmware implementation. Until the last 4 weeks, and the problem is our change we made. I discussed with the programmer is not in the final release. It's in the final official release. It is only available in the daily buildings. But let's say you have accidentally you didn't have this information. You went to the download page and you simply downloaded the latest stable version, and you can see Mould King is present in the list. And then, but when you go to the subtypes, only the subtype digital or analog is available. And what does it mean? In the past, or not in the past, before the 6-channel box was released, only the 4-channel boxes were available. And the 4-channel boxes, the version 4.0 boxes, are present on the market in an older digital form, where you can only control the servo and the motors in a digital manner, means always 100% on off, and for the servo plus minus 90 degree or 0 degree, Unfortunately, that is the case, still the case, because it depends also on the servo. But then the newer version of the 4-channel boxes are proportional or analog ones. You can vary the speed of the drives, no? And possibly of the servo, if a potential servo will be available in the future. And the newer box has 6 channels. And the problem, when you downloaded a firmware version where the option or the subtype of the Mould King protocol only is analog or digital, it is for the 4-channel boxes only. And the version that includes the 6-channel boxes can be found when you go on the download page for the daily build. It's the actual current version. It's here we have downloaded version 1.3.4.31, and the right version is 1.3.4.50. I've also downloaded. I will change it and will come back in a while. Wait. Okay, we are back after updating the right firmware. And as you can see here, the subtypes have slightly changed. Now we have 3 entries. 2 entries are for the 4-channel boxes and 1 for the 6-channel boxes. If you want to connect at least one 6-channel box to the controller, to the remote control, you always have to choose these subtypes A664. If you want to use a single order digital 4-channel box, you have to choose the subtype D4x4. The subtype A4x4 is for the usage of the newer proportional or analog 4-channel boxes. One note about the actual boxes. There is a new power module on the market. I think it's called MK3. It is present in the new bulldozer, in a tank, and in a special loader. In this power module, 3 or 4 motors are integrated in one case, and but they are using a digital protocol. Every time you want to use a digital protocol, use this subtype. Every time you want to use proportional 4-channel boxes, I would give you the advice to use the subtype A4x4, and the subtype A664 is a must if you have a 6-channel box. If you have 2 6-channel, you can, and the difference before the other subtypes is you can assign up to 16 channels to your boxes. And that means for the 4-channel boxes, you can attach up to, or bind, you say, up to 4 4-channel boxes to one transmitter. And if you want to use 6-channel boxes or a mixture of 4-channel and 6-channel boxes, you have this subtype, but this subtype is limited to 3 boxes. You can use any combination in this row of these boxes. You can also attach 3 times 4-channel boxes, but you can't use 3 times 6-channel boxes, because if you want to use 3 times 6-channel boxes, you have a channel count of 18. Yes, you can bind these boxes by using this protocol, but you can't use the last 2 outputs of the third 6-channel box. And for that reason, this is intended if you want to use all 16 channels in combination with or primary use of 6-channel use, you have to use 2 6-channel boxes and a single 4-channel box.